Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Hitchens Razor. So this episode is going to be one of a similar format where Vinod and I thought it was a good idea to catch up twice in a month and save all the interesting things that we see online or we read something in a newspaper, or since we're in two separate geographies, Vinod's sitting in the UK, in Manchester to be specific, and I am in India, Bangalore. So we anyway used to catch up on and laugh about things that happened, and whatever we found very interesting in geopolitics, if it was movies or books. So we thought it would be a great idea to just share that with all of you and welcome you to this discussion as well. So this is going to be the format of this is quite straightforward. You don't have to expect a long form podcast here. It's going to be somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes, maximum 40 if it's a very eventful 2 weeks. But if not, it's going to be somewhere around this timeline. So without further ado, I'll have Vinod take a stab at this and tell me some of the interesting things that he's found so far. And then I will share with Vinod and all of you all what I've found for 2 weeks that I thought was quite interesting. So Vinod.
Right. Thank you. So one of the interesting things that happened in past 2 weeks was that I got a new microphone because someone was nagging me continuously to buy a microphone for the podcast. So I got Razer Seiren Mini. Mm-hmm. It's a no-nonsense microphone, gets the job done. Nice and easy. It's a USB microphone, just connect it to your computer, use your recording software, boom.
Plug and play.
So this is the first episode. Yeah, plug and play. The first episode that I am recording with a new microphone. And also we got some nice feedback from the first season about the content and very honest, constructive criticism about my microphone. So thought it would be wise to address that during the Black Friday, which happened last week in the UK. So, yay. Excited about this. Hopefully you are also excited.
Yes, I am. And the outputs a lot better than I think what I was used to hearing. So having said that, why don't you continue? Apart from the microphone, what else did you think was quite interesting that you found? Twitter, social media, read anything nice? What do you see?
Since you mentioned Twitter, there was something that happened in Twitter last week. That's Stephen Fry left Twitter.
What? Why?
Due to the ongoing fiasco around Twitter, I suppose. I think it's just too much these days, isn't it? To pay whatever the monthly fee and whatnot. I don't know if it makes sense for us because we are not going to pay anyway.
Exactly.
And we don't want the blue tick or grey tick. There are different colored ticks these days representing different levels of popularity, I suppose. But there's definitely some sort of madness around Twitter that's happening these days.
Don't you think this is an elite level problem though? This is the elite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just does not bother us.
Yeah.
That's I'm still following all the football memes. That's primarily these days what I use Twitter for, because of the World Cup at least. Oh, the memes are hilarious, honestly. Just God, especially that meme from the Simpsons where a character kicks out someone and then he reappears behind him. Because the group games are about to finish, and some of these are extremely mathematical in terms of who would qualify. Right. So the goal difference or goals forced, accepted, or number of yellow cards or things like that. So yeah, it's an interesting place still, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
If you have to sum up the whole FIFA thing so far, because I've not been following a whole lot apart from the major upsets that happened where Saudi Arabia defeated Argentina and then I think Japan defeated Germany. Way to go, Axis powers. But how would you summarize it so far? Like, who are your top 4 picks for the semis? Who do you think is doing well? Any surprises?
I think it's going to be more surprises in the round of 16 as well, because in the group stages itself there were so many upsets. Of course, you saw Germany's out of the competition.
Oh,
Belgium,
really?
the so-called
They're
yeah,
done?
Germany's out.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Belgium is out. So-called golden generation of Belgium.
Right.
They fell flat. Yeah. What else happened? Morocco topped the group. Japan topped the group. Spain was out for 3 minutes total. Then Germany saved them by scoring more against Costa Rica. That was yesterday.
Otherwise, Spain would have gone out
And,
as well.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
What else happened? Argentina, they came back from being down in the first game against Saudi Arabia, and then Saudi Arabia finished last, I think, in the end. But I think they played well, to be honest.
Right.
The passing and everything was good, just that they didn't have a good lethal attack. That cutting edge was missing. So, but I do think they played well, and I was happy about Japan because they never give up, do they? They have
Yep.
this indomitable spirit of achieving things that they care about, which was great. To be honest, France looks pretty strong.
Okay.
Proper defense and then world-class attack. Then Brazil is also strong. I thought Croatia was doing well.
So pick
They
top
are
four. Pick
actually
top four. Who do you think will land up in the semis?
It's pretty hard, but I think there is a chance for France, Brazil, Argentina, and I don't know, probably Japan. I hope Japan
Okay.
or Croatia. Or England. England played well. I've completely forgotten about England. Sorry. Yeah, England's also playing pretty well. So it's going to be among them. I don't know. There's going to be upset 100%.
Right. Okay. What else? FIFA, microphone, and then
1984. What a book. What an amazing piece of literature.
yeah.
It was written in 1949. And then, history that followed has close relation to what was predicted in 1949 by George Orwell.
Right.
Amazing. It's just brilliant. I mean, of course, I felt a bit guilty that it took so long for me to read it. Part of the reason was it was so hyped, I thought, initially. So that's completely because of my ignorance.
No, it's not just
About
that.
what
It's
is it
it's
written?
also
It is-
you have this habit of if I tell something's good, you're just like, screw it. It must be bad, right? So I think that bias kicked into you as well when I was telling you that it's an awesome book. It's an awesome book. It's an awesome book. So I think that would have kicked in too.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, fine. Yeah, probably that's the reason as well, because I've seen that book sitting in your bookshelf.
I remember you picking up the book to read it sometime during the initial months of the pandemic. But I don't think you got to finish it, right?
Yeah, I did not finish it. I didn't even read it. I just picked up the book and then read the back cover, and that's pretty much it. But recently, it's because of Christopher Hitchens, because he had written an essay, I think, about why Orwell matters in current scenario, and then you can't get away without an Orwellian reference in every
Quite true.
every literature or any article or a speech or a podcast. There is always a reference to Orwell, and then it's kind of impossible to get away without knowing.
Quite true.
Without knowing some of the lines or the thoughts mentioned in 1984. When you read that for the first time, and that's just, I couldn't keep my Kindle down.
Yeah.
So and there were like notes, highlight things,
Yeah.
and it's that thing when someone else is summarizing all our thoughts.
Yeah.
Not all our thoughts, obviously, some of them which has formed in a misaligned manner in our head, and then it's all how I say all the electrons are looking in a different direction, and you apply voltage, it all aligns properly.
Yeah.
And like that, feeling like that happened. So
I mean,
and there is a book inside book, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the book by Goldstein. That's just
Yeah.
that's just honestly one of the brilliant
I
things
mean,
inside.
so in the sense, what was really good is that, like, in a sense, there are three books that are considered classics as far as dystopian novels are concerned. So obviously there's 1984, then there's Fahrenheit 451, and then there's Brave New World, right? So if you read the other two, I thoroughly enjoyed Fahrenheit 451. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's a great book, but my imagination was just so much more vivid when it was 1984, because the details are just so brilliant. Like with
Yeah.
Fahrenheit 451, I am making a picture of the character. Like I know this is how his room looks, and I can
No,
kind
I
of
have not read it.
okay.
Kindly don't spoil
No,
anything
no, I
for me,
won't.
and
So,
then or I'll have to fly out to India and kill you.
no, 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 no. But my point is, with 1984, it's just so vivid that your brain's just like you can really picture, um, you know, every character that's explored in the novel. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I could imagine living in a 1 BHK with this TV and there's probably this camera looking at me and me trying to like hide. And it's so vivid,
Yeah.
man. It's so
Talk
vivid.
about that censorship and surveillance. I
Correct.
think Fahrenheit 451 is about that surveillance and extra censorship, isn't it? Like
No,
it's going too far.
no, no,
Anyway,
no. You read that. You
let's
read
not
that.
discuss that.
Let's keep that for
Yeah.
another day after you read it. Yes.
Yeah, fair game. So yeah, there is. I think this I probably told you that the number of cameras per 1,000 people is somewhere around 340 in China at the moment. In a, I think it is in Beijing or some city.
Yeah.
So talk about safety, but it's still invasion of privacy.
It is.
Someone is looking into your private life. You have 340 cameras per
Yeah.
1,000 people, and second was India, but it was somewhere around 46. And even with the population, you can justify to an extent, but then again, it's not going to come down. It's not going to be
It's only gonna go up.
250 cameras
Yeah,
next year. It's
yeah.
going to go up.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's the
And
game's going to
And
be.
the worst part is, like, at least I don't know about what it is in China, but as far as at least India is concerned, people are excited to have more security cameras that they privately install. I mean, again, it can be for surveillance or whatever, but people just feel that, oh, if I have a security camera, I know if this guy's going to scratch my car, if this guy's going to nick my car, and stuff like that, without knowing that government can get access to those tapes. It's not necessarily your footage. So, apart from the public sector or the state-owned cameras, there are a lot more private cameras as well for their own whatever reasons that they justify. And some of them are justifiable reasons to have cameras. So I don't know, it's a crazy thing, but it's nice that you brought up China, because those were my two talking points with China, like especially with the whole privacy thing. Have you been following any commentary there with the whole QR code and the zero COVID policy and the amount of protests that are happening in China?
Yeah.
Dude, this
Again, it's gone.
No, the QR code thing is just madness. So if it's like, once you're integrated to that electronic system via WeChat, all your payments and everything, so if you have to enter a mall, if you have to enter an office, you've got to show your QR code. And if your basically those QR codes are classified as three colors: red, yellow, and green. If it's a green, it's not a problem. If it's yellow, that means you have to take an RT-PCR test. And if it's red, you're supposed to be quarantined. And this, you see people being dragged out of their houses if they have a red QR. And the algorithm is programmed in such a way that if you stand next to a person within half a mile of radius who is in the red QR, automatically your QR turns red. So you see, as soon as a person who logs into a mall, and if there is a notification that this guy has a red QR, everybody in the mall is just running out. Just running. Because they don't want to be anywhere close to this person, because their QR code automatically turns red. And so for the first time after the Tiananmen Square, you see this huge amount of protests that's happening in China. And I think this also has to do a little bit of, little bit with the policy and the newfound aggression that Xi Jinping's brought up. I don't know if I told you about this, but I am pretty sure I didn't tell you about this. Have you seen that video where Xi Jinping is talking to Justin Trudeau on the sidelines of the G20?
Yeah, in the COP27, isn't it?
I don't know if it's a COP20 or the G20 in
Indonesia. It was COP27.
It was COP27? Okay. And he just like schools him, like as though this teacher was talking to a student, this is not acceptable. And then that was, I think, in terms of like diplomatic mishaps, that's got to be in the number top five at least, like in recent times. Because, I mean, it was a very rare moment that you get to see two leaders disagreeing like that. And that took quite
Yeah.
brazenly. And I felt G was quite assertive. He didn't hold back.
I think there is an obvious age gap, isn't it, between those two?
Yeah.
And I saw the video, and obviously, it was not pretentious from G. G. He was not even trying to be diplomatic at that point, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's just that's a nature coming out
That's true.
of a human being. Whereas
He was really pissed.
Trudeau is still acting as if he cares about diplomacy and
Yeah.
whatnot, and then the words is then again politically correct, just being a true Canadian.
Yeah.
So that's
No, but full points for him to keep his composure, no? I thought he was at
yeah.
least.
For me, I was just
Yeah.
I was just thinking if he is behaving that way towards the premier of another country,
Yeah.
and how would he be behaving towards his own people?
Mm.
And probably his own staff or whatever, you know what I mean, when he has the ultimate power in that country. Makes one think. Then again, talk about bureaucracy and its mishandlings over the year. Sometimes you need that sort of diplomacy as well, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Otherwise you are exposed so blatantly, which is what we saw in that brief encounter between those two.
But I think that was done intentionally, in the sense, Xi wanted people.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. That's my opinion, because look, something like that doesn't get leaked, okay? And it was somebody from the two diplomatic circles. And see, for all you know, the Canadians wouldn't have leaked it, because it would have been such a red face moment for them.
Why do you mean it's leaked? It's a public platform. There are all kind of reporters
I'm
and
talking
everyone
about the
there.
video in itself was someone from that, within that circle. What I feel is, just before this incident happened, Justin Trudeau went and gave this press conference in the evening, saying that the Chinese are there are reports that the Chinese are interfering with our democracy, and so on and so forth. And so that's what he holds him up on the next day, that this is unacceptable. Something that we discuss in private cannot be leaked to the press. So I think Xi wanted the world to see that, this is a line that we don't cross in diplomacy. That if you're willing to do it,
fair game.
I am willing to do this as well. That's what I think.
Could be.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine. I think it's whatever we speculate, it's not gonna change each other's minds. So, but yeah, that was quite an incident that kind of did shake the world a bit.
Yeah.
What else is on your plate then?
The other thing that was on my plate is how fascinating gorillas are. It's been over a month, okay, and I've been watching a lot of videos about the silverback gorillas, and they're just like a fascinating species. They're super fascinating. They're part of the the super primates. They have these so most biologists kind of say that if you look at our jaw and our teeth structure, we can figure out what sort of food that we were supposed to eat. So if you have canines, you would mostly be a carnivore or an omnivore. But if you were a herbivore, you would have a lot more molars and stuff like that. But here's this gorilla that's got fangs like canines, right? But it's a vegetarian. Like, it goes against that basic thumb rule. They're not as smart as chimps apparently, but I feel they're a lot more cool, calm, and collected. They're not. I mean, they are aggressive, but they're not. They're aggressive only for like territorial things, but they're not aggressive like chimps. Like, you have this army of chimps, and chimps can live, I think, up to like 75 in a troop or something of that sort. But gorillas usually live with a maximum of 11 gorillas in a pack. So they're smaller in terms of group and stuff like that. But every single video that I've seen, including like gorillas on the wild, they're not they're not necessarily the ones to like attack or kill unnecessarily. They're like these
Mm-hmm.
gentle giants. So it's just fascinating to me that that creature can just exist, man. Like,
Yeah, you remember that there was one video about some gorilla was shot dead
yeah,
because a baby fell
Harambe,
into.
Harambe. I was
Uh-huh.
coming to that. Freaking hell, dude. Like, every single biologist who went through that video, dude, Harambe was a hero, man. Like, all he was trying to do was being that protective father figure to that kid, and he was just sad that people were shouting, people were throwing stuff at the gorilla, but Harambe thought that they were
Mm.
throwing stuff at the kid. So he goes on top of the kid and has this, protects it. And all he was
Mm-hmm.
trying to do was, make the kid stand up on the feet. And he didn't know how to handle a baby, obviously. So he pulls him
Mm.
first, and then the kid starts crying. So then he's even more confused that, oh my god, what did I just do? This just starts crying even more. So then he becomes ever so gentle, and then he drags the kid towards the enclosure where there is a gate. Where the
Mm-hmm.
people who give the food could actually take the kid away. Um,
Mm.
the enclosure door basically for the zookeepers to get in. He drags the kid there, and he's again, he has that posture of being protective, but they shoot him, dude. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any instance has made me feel so sad, at a loss of life. Like, there's something so gentle about the. I mean, I don't know. We probably have to look up how many human beings gorillas have killed. That would be an interesting statistic. Look, because every other animal, like
Right.
bears, chimpanzees, monkeys are just horrible. They will bite you. They'll rip a scalp out of this guy's head and all of that. But how many such instances have happened with gorillas is a very, very interesting thing that we'd find. I don't think they're those first aggressors. You know.
Right. Hmm.
But imagine you
All right,
confronted
then.
one in the wild, man.
You know that David Attenborough videos about him cuddling a gorilla, being very close to it. But then it's said that those gorillas are used to rangers being next to them.
Okay. The ones in the wild, you mean?
Yeah, in the wild,
Oh,
yeah.
damn.
Um, yeah, I think it's from that Planet Earth series. I'm not quite sure. I recently watched one of those, the one that came up recently. It's just kind of my testimonial about Planet Earth, and it shows
Is this on
his
Netflix?
journey from the beginning. It's on Netflix, yeah,
Okay.
from the beginning, and then shows how it's changed, and that's beautiful, and definitely will make you think at some point you need to do something. But
But they show the
yeah,
gorillas there?
that's in. Yeah, they show the gorillas as well. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, I know about
Even
this.
Carl Pilkington,
Mhm.
he goes on this one of these trips to
Right.
see gorillas, and then they try to recreate that David Attenborough moment.
Right.
So that's very interesting. Anyway, but just that Harambe episode just makes me sad. So let's move on from gorillas.
Have
at
you
the moment.
watched that video though?
Nah, I couldn't.
Oh, no, they don't.
I saw the picture where
No,
he's
yeah.
the gorilla is trying to lift up, and then
Yeah.
from that one, I just,
Dude, I mean, see,
it's
on
just
the internet, you don't get the video where they shoot the gorilla. You don't see that. But there's the series
doesn't
of
matter.
events.
You can at least you can imagine and then what's gonna happen. So
Yeah, but it just
it's,
breaks your heart, man. It breaks your heart, like so much so, because he was doing the right thing all along, and you can see it, even if you're not like a biological
all
expert.
right, let's move on. Let's move on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harambe, rest in peace, brother. Rest in power, like the BLM folks say.
So I
So,
finished Peaky Blinders the season. Yeah,
how is it?
the final season.
How is it? What did you think about it?
I think the Killian Murphy's acting is consistent.
That's
Loser.
I think that's because how he is in real life. I think he's exactly that. I don't think he's acting. I think he's just that. That's what he is. The only acting he's done is when he was playing Scarecrow in Batman or something of that sort. But otherwise, he's just that.
Oh, he is in the next Nolan movie. He is Oppenheimer.
Yep. I saw the tweet. I saw the tweet.
But I think Peaky Blinders, it's a steady decline, isn't it? From
Yeah.
the first season towards the end, it's
Quite true.
just. I
But
made a joke about that. Say Tommy Shelby lives long enough, but he becomes fat in the old age. What do you call him?
No idea.
Tommy Shelby.
Oh, freaking shit. That was a shit joke.
I know, it was just absolute pathetic joke, but it came to me and then I had to share, didn't I?
But yeah,
Go on then.
another
What else?
interesting conversation I had was with this American dude that I met. He was from New Jersey, and I was talking to him about the general state of affairs in the US and what he kind of thought about what's happened to the country. He had very interesting things to say. So I think I should probably share this podcast with him when give him credits. He's Ben Hawes, and I kind of met Ben, and then I was discussing what he thought about the disintegration of the American society as we see it. So I was telling him from the outside, this was one. It was one democracy that I think even India looked up to, in terms of the democratic values it espoused and stuff like that. At least 30 years ago, 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago. And that those kind of values peaked, I think, in 2008 with the election of Obama. I think a lot of Indians drew hope and inspiration from that election as well. And cut to 10 years later, it's all fallen apart. And all it took was a decade. And so, and there are no more people on the center of the political spectrum there. It's just super binaries. There's no Bill Clinton style Democrat and there's no George Bush style Republican. Who are I think a lot more center in their respective parties, though they were Democrats and Republicans. And yeah, he had a lot of fun things to say about that. And then he was also telling about how this excess consumerism there is mad, to the point that people struggle to save like $5,000 in their bank account. And I was looking at the Indian average savings rate, right? And then if you look up that statistics, it's just crazy. So in 2008, when the recession hit, in not a lot happened to India, right? And if you look at why that happened, the average savings rate for an American household is 3% of the annual income, right? But if you look at the average savings rate of an Indian household, it is 37% of the annual income. And so it's just crazy, dude. Like, I think, and he was telling about how, and I think that country's capitalism on steroids. I don't even think it's capitalism. It's unfair to call it capitalism, right? It's just consumerism en masse. That's what it is.
Right.
Like, it's easier to buy meals than to cook meals. And that is a red flag.
That's true. I think I've seen people go mad during these Black Friday deals, and then they're restless, to be honest. And they're just consistently worrying about being missed out of the deals that's appearing on these online sites. Curiouser and curiouser, isn't it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
But anyway, I finished Inimitable Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse.
Nice.
Amazing. It's just, honestly, it's just one of the funniest.
But don't ruin it. Don't ruin it for me. I am reading that right now. So I did you a favor by not going for Fahrenheit 451. So just give the listeners a broad review of what you thought the book was.
No, it's fair game. I think it's... Oh, okay, I won't spoil anything. There's nothing to spoil, to be honest, but because these are more of...
It's comedy.
Individual stories, isn't it? Recurring characters, and then since you're reading, let's stop there. Probably we can bring that topic back next month or in the next episode, whenever you finish it. Yeah.
Okay. Then another thing that was super interesting this week was from the world of fitness that I found. There was this guy called Liver King. Okay, his name is Brian Johnson, but he went popularly as Liver King because he was very famous for eating raw liver, raw testicles, raw heart, and all of that. And he made a brand around it called the Liver King. Then he used to call these something called primal or some shit like that. Like, he basically meant that We've got to live in the most primal form, like the way our ancestors lived and all of that jazz. And then he's ripped, okay? Don't get me wrong, he's built like a beast, the dude. And then it just came out on all over the internet that he spent something like 12,000 USD a month on steroids. So much for ancestral living, right? like with modern medicine and anabolic steroids. And he earned millions, dude, from his brand, and all he used to sell was like raw liver, like liver based supplements and all of that jazz.
And is this in America?
Yeah, this is in America. He had like 1 million followers or something of that sort, and he would say something about 9 tenets of ancestral living. So sleep well, some stuff that can obviously be true, that you wouldn't deny, right? Like, sleep well is obviously good advice. It's good fitness advice. It's good advice in general, even if it's not fitness advice. You sleep well and half your problem is sorted. But he would say something like that, and then he would say like, oh, eat a lot of meat, eat a lot of raw liver because the nutrient, and don't cook the liver basically, because if you cook it, you lose the micronutrients, something of that sort. This guy used to just eat like raw organs, and it's very weird to watch. But he attributed all of his physical prowess to such a lifestyle. So he would say that, you got to sleep only on a wooden plank and not like a mattress or something of that sort. But then it was just basically anabolic steroids, and the guy was worth like hundreds of millions of dollars. But I don't know, man, like so what is very fascinating about this whole story is that these snake oil salesmen still exist, and they exist, I think, a lot more in the internet. I thought people were stupid in the ages like 200 300 years ago to believe these people, but I think we've just gotten a lot more stupid now. And it's a lot more easy for such snake oil salesmen to exist because social media just gives everybody a platform to just say whatever they want without any consequence, right?
It's a political rhetoric, especially in debates and such, they use it. It is the huckstering snake oil salesman talk on the pulpit. That's what we heard from the opposition. But to know that such things does exist in reality. Of course, I think superstitions exist. Belief exists, religion exists, God exists, then why not snake oil salesman, isn't it?
No.
Duh.
No. I differ from that. I don't concur with that entire analysis, but...
Exactly. Obviously, it's just a matter of opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Another interesting thing that I saw in the financial world was this man being reduced from $30 billion to like $10,000 in his bank account, and he's also being prosecuted, and he might hit the jail very soon. And this is the FTX meltdown. Did you follow any of that commentary on that?
No, what is this? I have no idea.
So FTX is basically one of the second largest crypto exchanges in the world, right? After Coinbase.
Okay.
After Binance. So
Binance.
Yeah, Binance.
Okay. Is that a portmanteau of Bitcoin and finance?
Yeah, no, that's what it is.
Okay.
So these two. So this owner of Binance, let me look him up. He's like this Chinese origin dude. So he was actually Sam. So there's this guy called SBF, right? Sam Bankman-Fried. That's his name, and people used to call him SBF. So this guy he was Stanford educated. Father is a law professor. Mother is a famous Democratic Party. She had close affiliations with the Democratic Party. I mean, all this comes out now. I don't think people knew all of this when he was famous and doing well. So this guy called Changpeng Zhao, who's the CEO of Binance, he was of course a mentor to this Sam Bankman-Fried, and Sam Bankman-Fried became a billionaire by the time he was 30, while he opened FTX, right, through FTX, this crypto exchange. And
hang on. So this SPF guy is the guy who was at some billions and brought down to 10K.
Not even 10K. I don't know if he has 10K also right now. Right?
Fair game, yeah. And then the other guy, the Chinese dude, is his mentor.
Was his mentor turned rival because they became competitors.
Okay.
This FTX became the competitor to Binance. So this
Okay.
Sam Bankman-Fried is a 1992 born, okay, and Stanford graduated and all of that, or MIT, something of that sort, right? MIT. He's from MIT. The other, I think, the CEO of FTX, this other girl was from Stanford or some shit of that sort. I don't know. But yeah, basically, this guy came to be like, though he was a billionaire, he had a lot of PR campaigning going for himself, saying that, oh, he's like a very charitable billionaire, who he would just wear like sneakers and shorts and t-shirts for like even during when he was meeting and sitting with Bill Clinton and another former president in the World Economic Forum. And apparently, when he was on a meeting with Sequoia Capital, which is a private equity firm, right, which was funding FTX, he was playing a video game while they were on call, and somebody from Sequoia thought it was badass, quote unquote, to do it,
Okay.
and they thought it was a stroke of genius to not care. And I was like, dude, what is this? What is happening? Like, if you and I for this podcast were to raise funding and we went to the bank wearing whatever SBF wore, they wouldn't even let us inside the bank, let alone give us the loan, right? And here you have private equity people like who are supposed to be considered one of the smartest in the world in terms of gauging what can work and what not, throwing money at something that is fundamentally flawed. And so this whole FTX thing was a scam because this company called FTX had another sub firm which was considered a research firm called Alameda Research, which was also owned by this SBF guy. So because FTX couldn't accept money, is they have something like the whole SEBI rules, okay, in the US, like you can't transfer. It's not a bank, right? Basically, so it can't accept deposits. So what people would do was send the money to Alameda Research. This Alameda Research would create something called FTT, which was a token of FTX. Right? They created their own token. And so he would buy the own FTT using these dollars. And so if he had some transaction to give, he would say, okay, take FTT instead. So it was it was like a classic Ponzi scheme. That's what it was. But he was able to convince the world for the longest time that he was doing good until, there were leaks that came out saying that these are governance issues that have taken place, and then it just tanked the stock. And then it came to light that these guys were all living in Bahamas. The founder and the group of 10, they were having orgies in a they were all in a polyamorous relationship and all of that. Dude, it's just a scam of epic proportions. I think if you should watch some commentary on this because it's...
I don't even understand now. So the story was where this guy called SBF was brought down from many billions when he was 30 to less than 10K.
Yeah.
And what did the rival Chinese dude do?
The Chinese dude just highlighted that, dude, this is what's happening in the background. And he was ready
So it was a Ponzi scheme, and then he ratted him out.
Yes, he ratted him out. And then I think somewhere in between he was ready to buy out the company, right? He was like, okay, I think in between, they was ready to buy it out for like $7 or something of that sort per share. And I think his team did a little bit more due diligence, and they found that this was just toxic as hell. Like what these guys were doing, like, buying their own coins with random investors.
So how did he make that much money in the first place? Because of those private equity teams who were impressed by his deviant behavior of watching the...
Yes.
Or playing the game while he was...
And then, see, once you're a listed company, people put money into it, right? Like, so you could invest in FTX. It was trading on the market. So you're valued
so
at
the share values went up and...
Correct. So yeah, it was basically a Ponzi scheme of epic proportions. I think the only scheme that was probably a little bit more bigger than this was the Bernie Madoff scandal, Bernie Madoff or whatever it was. That was back in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
But so there's this movie called The Wizard of Lies. Robert De Niro plays Bernie Madoff in that. Have you watched it?
Oh, okay. No, I have not seen it.
You should watch it. You should watch it today if you possibly can.
I'll definitely add that to my list.
Yeah,
Wizard of Lies.
See, there are multiple documentaries. Okay, multiple documentaries that you can watch with the real guy and all of that. But that movie actually does quite some justice to to all of the commentary that I've read on it, all of the YouTube that I watched.
To be honest, I'm not interested in the story itself. You just mentioned Robert De Niro, and I'm a huge fan, so I thought, okay, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
But hopefully the story would turn interesting in the end.
Dude, it is, because I'll tell you the total loss there was somewhere around 60 odd billion of people's money. This one man scammed it. One man. 60 billion, dude.
Talking about injustice, I am kind of finding it difficult to get tea from Starbucks and other stores because they can't get acquainted with my pronunciation of tea. How do you say tea, by the way?
Tea.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just that simple. But they could go. They're looking at each other like the Starbucks fellas, and they are looking up and down like what
Oh, I think you need to. I think you need to say chai tea or something of that sort. Because these.
Nah, it says tea. It says tea. I don't know where is it coming from.
How can the British not say tea?
Exactly the irony of it, isn't it? Because it came from Assam and India and whatever. Basically, everything is from Asia, and then now they're confusing me with it. And I had to say tea, so I have just replaced it with Earl Grey, which is the one I want anyway. So talk about injustice and irony.
They call it chai tea latte. I don't understand for the life of me what.
Yeah, chai tea latte, horrible. What the actual? No, I don't want to use those words here. The one that I want to use is that rhymes with clucking bell.
Yeah,
because
chai tea latte is the most shittiest name that anybody can think of.
Shittiest thing in not just the name. It's just
the whole.
You have had that.
I wouldn't drink that.
The drink itself is honestly.
Like
you get.
It's like saying I drink tea latte. Like, what the hell? Chai and tea are the same thing. It cancels each other out.
No. Interesting thing is, obviously it costs like £4 or something, yeah.
Damn.
And you go to our shop in Tipsandra, that 10 rupees lemon tea.
$10 and it's so when you drink chai tea latte, it goes to your kidneys and then it comes out as piss, right? But that $10 lemon tea goes to your soul. That's where it goes to. It doesn't come out of your body. It doesn't leave. It just makes you a better person. That's what it does. That's that lemon tea.
If you're on the verge of suicide or ending things, just have one tea and it'll kickstart. It'll rekindle your life.
Yeah.
That's the value of it.
12 rupees on a bad day, 10 rupees on a good day. And you're sorted. You're sorted. That's like what, 10 pence in the UK?
Yeah, it's
10 pence.
Less than 10p.
Yeah, less than 10p.
Because of all the...
Yeah. Okay, so we're well over time. We promised the listeners that it's going to be 40 minutes, and I think we were way more than 40 minutes, so close to an hour. But this was... Yeah. I hope this was entertaining. It was entertaining to me. I don't know how much of information / entertainment the listeners have gotten. Please let us know. Yeah. Please let us know. Please be...
You're boring. Yeah,
please be very vivid in your comments, and then we will see you again after 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Have a nice one.